we can get into this a little more by talking about what happened in the United Arab Emirates about a month ago. They had outlandish rainstorm and floods. So the story was what? That
seed planting. That's what I heard. And I mean, I say I heard it. I didn't hear it from a reliable source, but I just not that I'm just saying. I'm never even. I don't even know what that means. Seed planting and all that. But they did say from the ground that they could change the weather. But Wendy's saying Mother Nature. You don't mess with Mother Nature.
Don't mess with Mother Nature.
You don't mess with Mother Nature. And I say this all the time. Human beings are the stupidest animals on the planet. We are just stupid. Like animals in the wild don't destroy where they live.
Yeah, we tend to
destroy.
Tend to mess up some things
We
occasionally.
do.
You know?
We really mess up
we
things.
leave trash behind us on the highway and stuff like that.
People I don't understand it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean,
well,
my dead dogs have better manners. I'm just saying. I'm sure some of y'all's dogs have better manners than some of these people that I don't understand what's going on. But they did say something about the that seed planting.
Well, they've been doing, because it's a very dry part of the world, so they do some seeding of the clouds, okay? Because the way rain works is that if you have moisture in the clouds, and then you put a small particle in there, that's called a seed, then it'll help the rain to precipitate out and fall. And so the idea is we throw some seeds up there, whatever those are, and then we get some rain. And of course, if you're living in a desert, you'd like some rain every once in a while.
Yeah, but you're living in the desert. That is a choice. You're living in the desert.
Yes.
That's what God intended that to be.
Well, but the desert, 10,000 years ago wasn't even a desert. It was green maybe 10,000 years ago.
Wow.
So
See,
things
you're
change.
right. Things do change.
Yeah, right,
But again, my husband went to Dubai and it is a desert and it's a beautiful city. But I'm sitting there thinking and I'm not a scientist, but what happens to sand when it gets really wet? It sinks.
You get quicksand, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why in the world would you want to do that?
The real problem is, can you make something happen at all with cloud seeding? And then can you control what's happening with that? And the answer is that even to this day, although cloud seeding has been going on for decades and decades and decades and decades, that's why we showed an airplane up front there, because one of the first ventures in this was to drop iodide, some sort of iodide compound, silver iodide or something else, out of the back of an airplane, and that would be the crystals would seed the clouds and it would rain. And so there have been successes and failures over the years, and they're really not sure how it works. But some people were claiming that it was the cloud seeding that did this.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And then I was seeing the pictures of the airport where my husband brought back so many pictures from Dubai, and it's such a it is beautiful, but it's beautiful because it's a dry desert.
Yeah.
And
Terry makes a good point that, even 10,000 years ago when our it became, the ice age ended, people were running around and they would, their flocks and herds would eat up the ground and make it bare, and then they'd go off someplace else, and who knows what might happen to the irrigation and the water management during that time. So we can affect our environment somewhat.
Absolutely. We take care of our environment.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they had in Dubai, they had some flooding, which you wouldn't imagine in the desert, but they had some severe flooding that was due to the heavy rain, heavier than they thought. But I remember reading somewhere that this rain was actually on the weather forecast, so they knew it was coming. So
on the real one?
Yeah. So, well, the real weather forecast, I don't know, But so it wasn't
So maybe it really did. I just can't imagine that kind of flooding in the desert.
Well, if you're not prepared for flooding, which deserts are usually
they're not.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, they're not.
So if remember, we have these 100-year floodplains around here, and then you have a 500-year flood. and
No, you're right.
You're not ready for a 500-year flood.
You're so right. It could happen.
Right.
I mean, we are used to the flooding over here.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I think most of the scientists who have weighed in on this suggest that the cloud seeding, and they do some over there, and they no longer do all of this from an airplane. They have apparently some towers they can spray some seeds out of. I don't know what compound they use at this point in time, but that can help do this. But most of it's been attributed to just the weather, or some people are attributing it to catastrophic anthropogenic climate change, which means man's destroying the world again. So I don't particularly ascribe to that. I think we're affecting the climate, but in a modest way. But others disagree. And so there's a lot of emphasis. And if you read any of the normal media, the NPR, CNN, or any of the normal Reuters or any of that, it'll be climate change is doing all the damage and man's doing all the climate change, which, of course, is probably not the case.
No, well, I mean, I think we do contribute to it some, but no, I think if anybody's messing it up, it would be the evil ones.
Yeah, well, certainly human...
Does anybody else who's watching agree with me? I mean, I'm not just the crazy one. Maybe I'm just the only crazy one.
Well, again, last week we had an episode where we talked about conspiracy theories, and there are no shortage of conspiracy theories of one kind or the other.
You can go crazy with it. It's
right.
And that, and I think I just know that life was so much easier. I'm so glad, I'm not raising little kids right now because it's such an overload of information for these poor little moms. Yeah. And I feel so bad for them because it's it doesn't matter what they do.
Right.
I mean, it's it doesn't matter. It's so, and I get wrapped up in it too. And it's just scary.
And of course, the storm came through Ascension Parish too, and our great-grandkids were intimidated by the storm.
Oh my gosh, so my daughter, Lindsay, their front door flew open. Of course, they have children, so I'm sure the door was probably not shut properly. So, it's not it wasn't like it was deadbolted.
Right.
But the door flew open, they couldn't shut it.
Yeah, because the wind was high.
Yeah, it was so high. So the playroom's in the front of the house, and the kids were just screaming.
Yeah,
Carter almost passed out. He was so upset, poor baby. And they left the door open. They ran because they heard a whistling noise, and they just went in the bathroom and just...
if you've never experienced really bad weather, it's intimidating. Okay, I remember though. I mean, this is weird. How little boys are, I guess. But when I was maybe 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in that range, a big hurricane came through New Orleans area, big enough to make a splash. And I remember we were living in on Birch Street a long time ago, and I was excited about it. I mean, I thought this was really cool. I mean, there's a storm and the lights go out. I mean, this is really cool. But of course,
kids.
That's kids, and I was, I thought it was cool. Now, my mom and dad, I think, were less than cool about it.
Oh, well, scared to death. Yeah, and I was like that as a small child. I would love that because I thought I was going to miss school.
Right.
But now it's there's so many things that come along with it.
Right.
But I don't remember as a child, I don't know, Stormy and Wendy, y'all are young. Y'all are my age. I don't remember any big storm besides Katrina. I don't, at least.
Yeah, the really big one, of course, and it's in my memory, is Camille. Camille was...
Camille was what I was saying,
that's about 50 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
And Camille hit the Gulf Coast. They were really worried about it coming further west and hitting New Orleans, which would have been really... even worse than Katrina, probably, because of everything. But it hit with 200-plus mile-an-hour winds. Ships were put on the highway from the Gulf. I mean, that was
worse than Katrina. Maybe not with the flooding. Stronger than Katrina, not the flooding.
Right. And
Andrew, she's right. 1992. I forgot about that. You're right.
Andrew was not too good either, was it?
Stormy, do you remember?
Now that's the one that hit Florida 2 or 3 times because it kept going back and forth.
Oh yeah, it did. But I remember going to Stormy's because they had the gas stove.
Yes, okay.
During Andrew, do you remember that?
So when the power goes out, you still got gas.
Yeah, so we were making spaghetti.
Yeah.
I just remember that. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember doing that.
But I was in college when Camille hit, and there was a sad incident because I had a classmate who left with the impending hurricane coming. He left LSU and went east to go to either the Gulfport area, I think it was the Gulfport area, to help his dad bring a boat inland and get it away from the Gulf. And they both died in a storm.
Oh my gosh!
So so hurricanes are serious, and you don't want to.
Well, Florida gets them enough. So
Florida gets them enough. Like I say, I think Andrew was the one that went over Florida and back over Florida.
Ivan. Maybe it was Ivan.
They all do that
Ivan
kind of
kind of
stuff.
took it out. So
Okay, well, enough about the bad weather.
Obsessed with weather.
Yeah. Well, the joke is Louisiana. It'll change if you wait 5 minutes.
I know. I just saw something. I was so upset. But this show we're trying to make Louisiana, like, it's not this awful, terrible place. I love. We have so many good people here, but it got voted the worst state in the entire U.S.
But it wasn't us voting. I don't think.
I don't think it was, but I'm just like, how can that be? I mean, I love my Louisiana.
I wouldn't have voted that way.
No, but I love my Louisiana people. You find some of the best people here. Just such good people.
Yeah, Mike make a good point. With a hurricane, at least you can run away. But and we did. One of the ones that last one that came through, we went up to Arkansas.
Oh wow!
Margaret and I went to Arkansas. We went to
I remember that.
Bill Clinton's old stomping grounds, Hope, Arkansas. So that was a long time ago.
It is the crime, Wendy. It is. I know. We just all try to make it better, and that's what we try to do. The people that live here, we try to be positive and do what you can to make it better.
But you tell people it's exciting down here.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
You got to be like a Scrappy Doo. Remember Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo?
Kind of got to be a little bit of a Scrappy Doo to live down here.
Yeah, a little bit of that, right.
No, so anyways, enough about the weather. We could go on and on and on.